everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Zee Garcia.
And I'm Mike DeLisio.
Today we're taking a look at a cooperative game called Bomb Busters by Hisashi Hayashi, a very prominent Japanese designer, one of Mike's favorite designers, I'm thinking.
He's up there, yeah. He's done some great stuff.
Yeah, this is a game in which you have a bunch of tiles, which are going to represent wires, and you need to cut the wires, but don't cut the red wire. Let me show you a bit about the game, and we'll be right back. The game comes with 66 missions. The first 8 of them are kind of training missions. 8 is basically the full game. And then there are boxes that add various things that will change your upcoming missions and different cards and things like that. I'm just going to be basically talking about the base game. In this game, you're trying to defuse a bomb. This bomb is going to be made up of many different wires that are numbered from 1 to 12. There are 4 of each of these. These are blue wires. They are safe. There's also yellow wires, a little bit more dangerous, that have .1s after them. And then there are red wires, which are incredibly dangerous, which have .5 after them. Now, in the full game, essentially training mission 8, you'll know some of these yellow wires. There's 2 of them in the mix, but you don't know which 2. You just know that they're either 4.1, 7.1, or let's say 11.1. And we got 2 bombs, which are 5.5 and 9.5. You mix some of those. In this case, you'd mix 1 red and 2 of those yellows with all the blues and give them out to everybody. Each person then is going to put all their wires that they get into ascending order. So here I have 1 through 12. You'll notice I have 3 1s, 2 2s, a 4.1, 2 5s, 9, 10, 11, 12. Each player is also going to give some information about one of their wires. So I might tell everybody, in this case, for example, that my 3rd wire is a number 1. You're allowed to give 1 piece of information out. There's also going to be some equipment cards out here, based on the number of players, that you can get. Now, players are going to take turns trying to defuse the bomb. What you will do is, you will pick a wire that you have that's blue. So I might pick a 9, point to someone else's wire and say, that's a 9. If that's correct, they will reveal the 9. I'll also reveal one of my 9s, and we both put them out to show that those 2 wires have been cut. So you need to have 2 of the same blue wires for that to happen. And if I'm incorrect, well then this ticks down. This starts at the number of players. If it gets here, we lose, and they tell me what the wire actually was by putting one of these tokens in front of it. Yellow wires can only be diffused by me pointing at a wire going, that's a yellow wire, and again, just like the other ones, I can only say it if I also have a yellow wire. Red wires, you can't do anything about. The only way to get rid of a red wire is if it's your only wire left, then you can say, I have a red wire, and you get rid of it. Also, if you have all 4 of a blue number, you can reveal that on your turn, because obviously no one can match you. Or let's say this one was matched with somebody else, it comes back to me, I'd say I have the remaining 2 1s. You can do that. When all 4 of a number is out, you will put these tokens on to show that they are finished, which gives people more information. When you do 2 of a wire, and that number is up here, you will also get a piece of special equipment that you can use. Like here you can pick a number from 1 to 12. Everyone says yes if they have 1 or more uncut blue wires of that value on their stand. So you can give out information by that. Each player is also going to be a character, and they'll have an equipment here, a double detector, which you can use once per game to point at 2 wires and say either of those is a 4, which gives you a little bit better chance. If you ever cut a yellow wire, well, I would say no. That someone said that's a 4. I'd be like, nope, it's actually yellow. That's all the information I get. If anyone ever tries to cut a red wire, everyone instantly loses. Now, like I said, the training game walks you through that. The first mission, I think you only have 1 through 6 of the blues. Then you add in a couple yellows. Then you add in a red. Then a red and yellows, and so on and so forth. And like I said, more stuff will show up later on in these boxes. Like maybe you have to cut wires in a specific order, or other things that I guess could be considered spoilers. But if you get rid of all the wires, you win. If you make too many errors or cut a red wire, you lose. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about in this, in the sense of there's also 66 missions. I want to be really clear. I have not played all 66 missions. I played 65. That's a lie. In fact, I played this. So this to me, if you've ever played a game called, there's a very popular trick-taking game called The Crew, which also has 60-plus missions.
Yeah.
I have the same thing. In this one, Mission 8 or whatever, which is like the first mission, the last mission of training, I could play that 30 times in a row.
Right, yes. It's just a new sort of combination of ingredients. It does not mean that once you play Mission 15, you can play Mission 15. It's not, there's no answer that's right every time.
In fact, I mean, I'm going to spoil one of the missions. One of the missions is just kind of like, you have a 15-minute time limit. So play the normal game with a 15-minute time limit.
Sure.
Okay, whatever. But they do have more nuances and rules and things, but they're basically just changing the parameters. Now you have this, there's some extra cards, there's more equipment, then now you have to do things in order. And I don't want to spoil all of it, but also, this ain't a campaign.
Right.
If I don't see all of it in here, I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think about that part, Mike?
Yeah, I agree with you. They just kind of add twists. And what I would say is that if you and your group love the game, play through as many as you want. I mean, maybe you want to do a crew thing and play through all of them. I think what's more likely to happen is you're going to find one or two, maybe three of the scenarios that you like, that little alchemy, that little mixture that they've come up with, and that'll be the one you play with most often. I think that's what I'll end up doing, because I already know there are some I like better than others. And honestly, there's some where what they're requiring you to do, I'm like, I hate this in games. I'll never play this scenario again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the game, I think that's great that they give you all those options. They give you that many different ways to play. And like Mike says, you can do whatever you want. But they put a lot of thought into what went in there. I love that this is a game that will adapt to the group a little bit. It can be your version of Bomb Busters.
Yeah, one of the things that's really neat here is just the ordering of lowest to highest. It's not the first game to do it. There's trick-taking games that do it, ordering numbers from lowest to highest. But that giving one piece of information, which is something I don't know why I like that in games so much. Sure. Again, comparing it to The Crew. But that if my third one is a 1, I just told you my first 2 are 1s. Mm-hmm. I like that. But you can get even farther than that. You're sitting there, you're counting the numbers. I played it with 3, 4, and 5. I don't know. 5 might be too many to keep track of what's going on, but 3 and 4, they both play equally well.
Right.
And just sitting there trying to figure out and not hit that stupid red wire. I remember one game I was playing with my family, and I got so caught up, and I was like, I have everything figured out, and I completely forgot about the red wire, and then cut it. I was like, that's definitely a 5. Nope, it was the 5.5. And so I find the deduction part of this to be really strong.
Right.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that the system that they use is so simple but makes so much sense that it just works. Like, you're not having to constantly remember, okay, what is it? Am I missing something here? Now, you could, like you said, make a mistake with the red wire, that type of stuff, but that's not because the rules or the system is complicated. You just forgot, you weren't accounting for that. It's not that it was something that was like, oh my gosh, here's another thing I have to remember. It's a pretty elegant system, and lets you focus on what you should be focusing on, which is the deduction and the experience, not the rules.
And one thing I really like about this game as a deduction game is that it does not suffer from that possibility in many deduction games where someone gives you wrong information and the rest of the game derails. As long as they know how to organize the numbers, you can't do that. You know what I mean? And I really enjoy that. I think that's great. Many deduction games, everybody's on pins and needles, because what if so-and-so over there said they only had 3 of this kind of card instead of 4? The rest of it falls apart a little bit. I love how robust this is, and yet how clean, how simple it is to jump in. And I think it scales well age-wise, too. You can play some of the easier missions here. Leave out the yellow, leave out the red. Don't get too crazy with the options. And play with a younger crowd as well.
Yeah, I played this a lot with my family. They really liked it. We lost so many times, and we just kept playing because they liked that logic. They like Sudoku and logic puzzles, and this was something along that line. I will say, you said the person can't mess it up. You can mess it up if you forget to put a wire in the setup. So don't forget. One time we're like, where's the fourth 12? Oh.
Sure, I suppose you could do that.
And that can be missed because there's often an odd number of wires, so they're not handed out equally. Mm-hmm. I also want to say I love the equipment. The equipment is fantastic. Like, I wanted to do these two numbers just so we can get this piece of equipment to guess.
I think that's my favorite part of the game. The fact that it's a deduction game and they don't make that many of those. That's great. But I think my favorite part is the way the equipment works. The fact that you have to turn it on. You have to earn it by cutting wires, specifically numbered wires. That is so interesting. It gives you something like a subset of sort of direction within the game. Yes, you're trying not to blow up and cut the right things. And also turn that on, because then you can do extra clues. You can do whatever. I really like the way that works.
Yeah, I echo that. The equipment cards are great, and who knows? In all of those secret boxes, you may get more cool ones to add into the mix too. So those are great. I also think that you can't overstate that the look of the game. In a deduction game where all that you're really thinking about is numbers and colors. This is such a neat looking game. It has a little bit of whimsy to go along with that tension, which I think is neat. This is a game that, for me personally, came out of nowhere. I had not even heard about it. I saw it at Gen Con for the first time, and what drew me to it was the graphic design, the art. Then I came over and said, oh, this is a deduction game. This looks kind of cool. And so I think that also, sometimes these types of games where you're dealing with numbers and colors can be very sterile and can be a little bit off-putting to players. This is not. This is a game that I think is going to attract people based upon how it looks. And I think that it also is really nice usability-wise. Like the board, the little board there is very good. It's not more than it needs to be. It's just what it needs to be. The little timer adds to a little bit of thematic fun to it. So in addition to having a rock-solid system, it's also a very nice little production. It's not in a bigger box than it needs to be. So I'm happy with that as well.
What would you rate it?
Me? I'm starting it off? All right. I'm coming in with this is tough for me, but I'm going to come in at a 7.5. I think that it is a really good deduction game, a really nice production. There are some of the scenarios where I'm like, okay, I really am not interested in doing this, but you can ignore those. You don't have to play them again. I have not played through all of the missions. Not sure if I will. I know that there are enough that I've already played that I like that I can come back to those, so that makes me happy. I do wonder if this is going to be a game that will be better if played with a dedicated group. Don't know that yet for sure because I haven't really done that. I think I've had a couple of repeat games with people in the same group, but mostly it's been teaching new players, so 7.5 with room to grow for me.
Interesting. I'm giving it an 8. I like it quite a bit. They don't make enough deduction games, like I was saying, and it's lovely to get a new one that is both this engaging and this simple. It's hard to put out new ones that are clean. It reminds me a little bit of this little known card game called Cryptos, in which you were organizing cards in your hand, and it was the same thing.
You're right.
That's competitive. It's not cooperative, but it's a little bit like that game. Competitive. Nicely themed. I'm docking it a little bit because I don't like the production as much. I think the little tiles, the wire tiles, are going to show wear and tear. I'm afraid they're going to show wear and tear quickly. They're not particularly high quality, but I do like the fact that they are treating the theme here lightly. This needs to be silly. It's about bombs exploding. You know what I mean? It needs to be kind of goofy, lighthearted. The cat and the little bunny and the dog and whatever. So that's great. I'm happy this is out. I'm happy this exists. We don't get enough of these games. So Bomb Busters is a winner.
I would like acrylic tiles.
I'm there with you. Like something, right? This is one that I would be down for a deluxe version of this.
I really love this game. My rating is colored partially. I mean, I played this with a lot of different groups, but I played it a lot with my family. So I'm giving it 8.5 because it just went over so well. Very rarely do we play a game and fail, and then people are like, let's do it again.
Yes.
Usually you fail, there's some deflation, like let's play a more fun game or an easier game, whatever. And it's having played my family several times, Mike, as opposed to playing with different groups, I think you'll get a little meta, as in, well, if I put this number here, that means this. Possibly, I can see that. But I also had a lot of fun just pulling out and playing with people. I don't care if this had said, now with 60 less scenarios, well, that would be too few, maybe 6. But it wouldn't
I don't think they're going to print that, just FYI.
It wouldn't bother me because, again, I'm looking at it as a game with just a whole bunch of variations to play.
Right.
I think the same thing about the crew. I really do.
Right.
I like this a lot. It's gone over well. The theme of, stopping the bomb. It's easy to teach, but there's a lot of nuance in it.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't fly under the radar because it has that feel like people are going to miss it. And if you're a fan of deduction games, do yourself a favor and check this one out. Don't let it pass you by.
Well, there you are, folks. That's Bomb Busters. I'm Tom Vessel.
I'm Zee Garcia.
And I'm Mike DeLisio.
Boom.
Don't cut the red wire.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. And you can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vassell.